Hey guys, Takamasak here, and I have finally finished another book after about 17,000 weeks of seemingly not doing one at all. I was going to continue with the 13th Realities series, The Blade of Shattered Hope, but I decided to go in a different direction. I will get to The Blade of Shattered Hope sooner or later, but I ended up going with Karen Miller's book, An Innocent Mage. Now, as you might expect from the title, there is magic in this, which I was kind of expecting. I didn't read the book description like I probably should have, but I kind of get a look at Goodreads.com if anybody doesn't know what that is. It's like book reviews. It's got a 3.6 out of a 5 grading system, which, kind of looking at the comments, I do understand a little bit, but the book did keep me entertained throughout the listen, I suppose, because I do it on audiobooks at work. But anyway, this story starts off with Asher, who is your protagonist. He, at the time, lived with his father and his brothers, which beat the crap out of him. They didn't get along. Asher takes off to the capital of this land. This land is called Lure, and he goes to Dorna, I think it's called. But yeah, it's the capital of these people called the Dornan, who are magically gifted, but they don't really use it in the sense like it's not like really an offensive thing. It's more of, oh hey, I'm gonna use this to bind books, and I'm gonna use this to write, and I'm gonna use this to just other things like repair buildings, etc., etc. And that's really about the extent of the magic. There's a little bit thrown in. I'm getting lost here. Okay, Asher is an Olkin, and the Olkin people, it tells you about halfway through the book, have used to have magic but have given it up in order to maintain peace because long ago there was this huge war. A lot of people got murdered, and it just, I can't remember exactly how it gets put, but the Olkin agreed to give up their magic in return for, I don't know, I suppose the Dorn and not murdering all of them. Something along those lines. Asher ends up going to the kingdom to make money to bring back to his father. He was going to stay there a year. He ends up befriending the prince of this kingdom. Um, the prince does not have magic, so he is very much looked down upon. Not so much by everybody. I mean, his family still loves him, with the exception of his sister, who he just, those two do not get along whatsoever. His sister is considered to be extremely magically gifted, and maybe she got like more power because Gar, the prince, didn't get any. Is kind of the theory. The kings and queens aren't supposed to have more than one kid, and they refer to the first child, Gar, as a cripple. That's how seriously they take that. And I can't even remember the daughter's name. I'm sure it'll come to me, but it's just. But anyway, Born, the king, I gotta set that up a little better. There's this wall around the city that an ancient mage put up ages ago. Like there's some kind of disturbance with this mage that went like really dark, and there was this other mage of light who kind of just sealed off this section of Lure so all these people could live in this area. And they prospered and they've gotten along for about 600 years. There was one incident where a family had two kids and they were both what they call weather workers. Whoever is the king or the queen of the time is considered the weather worker, and how that works is somehow they have to control the weather every day, and somehow this maintains the wall. That was kind of lost to me. I'm sure it was said in the book, but for the life of me, I can't exactly remember. Just somehow working with this weather magic reinforces the wall, so nothing can get in there. Um, but yeah, I'll stick with Asher for a little bit, describe him a little more. He was kind of a refreshing main character. He's not like I kind of saw in some of the comments that I agreed with. He didn't come from a lot of money. He's not like the son of the son of the son of the son of some king who was once long past. He's not afraid to speak his mind. He'll be an a-hole every now and then. Even to the prince. Uh, Not so much to the king. I don't think he wants to get his head chopped off. So, um, but most of these people are good people. Fane is the. I don't know why that just suddenly. Am I the only one that gets that? Just forget something. Is middle conversation. Oh, there it is. So anyway, Fane is set up to be the next weather worker, and she's working with a guy in this position called the Master of Magic. I assume he's like the best magician in the land or something like that. So um, he is set up to be kind of, I suppose, racist if you want to be. He doesn't say it openly, but Fane kind of lets loose that, well, in private you say these people are all essentially dog turds. So there's a little bit of racism in the book from the magic users to the non-magic users, which I guess makes it a little interesting. So over the course of the book, Gar and Asher become more friends, or better friends, and he Gar elevates Asher to this position just to show the Olkin, like, hey, you guys can come up into power too. I think Gar, as a magicless Dornan person, is a little more sympathetic to the Olkin because he himself can't use magic. So a lot of things happen. I'm gonna leave a lot out just because once again I want you guys to check it out for yourself. This naturally just drew me in because I like all that magic and medieval type stuff. Total nerd stuff, I know. But is there anything else to say? They find this vault which contains they kind of she's essentially a goddess. Barl is the name of the character. The essentially the light mage, and then the dark. There was this darker mage who they were seemed like there was kind of a love story there, a little bit, but something happened between them that broke up, and then something happened between Barl and Gorm. Morg. I don't know why I switched those letters around. But anyway, something happened between her and Morg just turned into this evil creature. They find, not those two, but the family, the current ruling family, find this vault. I forget how this happened. Like one of the servants discovered it and showed it to them, and somehow they broke seals and got into this ancient Barl's vault. There was a lot of just nonsense in there, but the Minister of Magic, is that right? God, I can't remember exactly. What is the Minister? I think I'm thinking Harry Potter. But Magic Master of Magic. Too many M's. The Master of Magic kind of sneaks away because he wants this like arcane power, like he wants to know what it was like, and the king kind of forbids him to, but he sneaks off anyway, pockets something, and ends up in his study later that night and learns a spell which can it essentially removes his spirit from his body, and he is able to cross the wall. That is the only way for anybody to cross the wall, apparently. So he crosses the wall, and it's just everywhere is black. He gets to a town, there's bones, just dead people, burnt out buildings, destruction. Oh, okay, he explores a little more. The next town, pretty much the same thing, except for oh, now there's demons roaming about. And right near the end, uh, of his little escapade outside the castle or the sealed off area, um, he he's really afraid because he sees all this stuff for the first time. Like there's allegedly, assumably, trolls and all that kind of stuff out there. They kind of hinted that these creatures existed a long time ago, but they only really mention the demons. Um, so he explores a little further. He gets to a big city, kind of like Dorina, and he ends up seeing this being. He just notices something in like glowing eyes and dark shadow. But anyway, this wasn't clear either in my head, but somehow his he just took off again. His spirit took off and made it all the way back, got back into his body, and I'm not sure where how exactly this happens, but he goes to the bathroom and splashes some water on his face, opens his eyes, and in the mirror he sees that shadow standing behind him. And I think he turned around, but there was nothing there. But somehow Morg ended up inside of him and ended up possessing him. I wasn't quite sure what was going on there, but that's pretty close. There's a little bit afterwards. I don't want to. It's not much of an ending. It leaves you on a cliffhanger, but I'll say Morg like induces Gar with this magic. Like somehow he like God. It's so weird now that I think about it. He implanted like some kind of magic into Gar's brain, and it just triggered on his command, and now Gar can use magic, which naturally pisses off Thane, and Thane wants to murder him because now she thinks she's worthless because only the first person can have be the weather wielder, and it's just um there were a few times in the audiobook where I'm like, oh, okay, this is a good spot to pause because they're going to end it. Oh, okay, another paragraph. Okay, now they're done. No, I had a couple of instances like that. Uh, it probably could have been shortened down a little bit. There was. I think you'll be better if you go in not expecting this to be like hardcore magic and fighting and stuff like that, but it's way more of a drama than it is. It's a lot of character development. I intentionally left some characters out. I didn't talk about them at all. Um, but yeah, I is it worth it? 3.6 out of 5 Goodreads. I think its ability to keep me entertained is worth at least a 3.5. I'm not going to give it a score. I'll leave that to the people on Goodreads to do. I would personally check it out if you're into that kind of stuff, but like I said, don't go into it expecting a lot of battles and a lot of warfare. There's not a lot of suspense. It's definitely much more of a drama. So as long as you go into the book thinking that and with that in mind, I think you'll be okay and you'll enjoy. God, did I even say the title? The Innocent Mage? I think so. I think I remember seeing this as a duology, but I'm gonna jump right into. I believe it's called the Awakened Mage. Um, yeah, not gonna talk about how the Innocent Mage plays into the title. I want you to figure that out if you're interested. And I think that's about all I have to say about that. So if you enjoy it, that was An Innocent Mage by Karen Miller. Give it an audiobook read, or listen to if you can't read an audiobook, or however you get your books. This is Takamasak, and I'll see you later.